she emerged into a wide open area that was the last place she had been on her previous journey. Open air wafted in from somewhere in this area of the cave, and the coolness of the night air hit her as she hoisted herself up on a large rock in the middle of the air chamber. She took a look around. It was stunningly beautiful in the chamber. A haunting glow surrounded her. She hugged her tail close to her chest and took a moment to appreciate where she was. This gift she had been bestowed was wonderful, as she felt both free to explore and a reprieve from anyone in the above world to find her. She felt delightfully hidden away and in her very own universe. She touched her long blonde hair. It was already beginning to feel damp. Time to move on, she thought. As much as she adored this spot, she would never be able to continue her exploration in time if she lingered too long. Which direction should she go in next? She wondered. Just as she was about to shimmy herself back into the water, she noticed the hypnotizing glow of something moving past her at quite a speed. She followed the direction it was going with her eyes and realized in that instant that it was an almost clear yet silvery jellyfish cruising along it on his way somewhere. She watched as the jellyfish bobbed along as though he had somewhere to be, and eventually made his way to one of several openings that led away from the air chamber. She was delighted that it was a path she had never taken before. She had explored a few others, but not this one. She shifted back into the water and followed the brilliant jellyfish, but kept somewhat of a distance as not to disturb him. He made his way through a small opening, but one which she was still able to maneuver through. She kept swimming through the small, dark tunnel for what seemed like quite a way, until finally the walls of the cave opened up. Her heart sung when she saw the wonder that lay before her. There was a whole other world on the other side, a vast opening as far as the eye could see. She could not see a bottom or where the other side of the granite wall was. The expanse was endless, yet it was not part of the ocean. It was its own secret and expansive water world. All around her danced hundreds, perhaps thousands of jellyfish. They moved along in a sort of harmony with one another, pulsating along, not paying her any mind. They glowed, illuminating the whole area with their magical lights. She glided along, careful not to bump into any of the jellyfish, respectful of their space, yet still pushing herself far enough to explore the wonderment of this new space. The jellyfish were all different, some throwing off almost electric-looking greens and reds like a Christmas tree, while others were softer colors, pastel pinks and purples, with long flowery nettles trailing behind them. They mixed and mingled together, bobbing along in a strange and beautiful synchronicity. Sadie wished she could stay in this realm forever and dance with the jellyfish, but she inherently knew it was time to be getting back. She paused for one more second to drink the exquisite beauty of this hidden underwater land, then turned back and made her way to the small entrance she had come through. She passed through the air chamber and made her way out to the glimmering entranceway. She had to make her way to the surface, but as she began her climb, she glanced to her left, spotting her seahorse friend. Something passed between them, and she knew he was bidding her farewell for now. She continued to drift upward, her long blonde hair flowing behind her. Eventually, she could see glints of moonlight poking through the water, guiding her. Finally, she popped her head above water, the cool night air greeting her. Knowing her tail would be gone soon, she took the last few moments to play around, raising her tail out of the water. She added a few flips and twirls just for fun. Satisfied with her latest adventure, she swam back to the large rock she had initially perched on and relaxed on her side, staring up at the magnificent moon and reflecting on her journey. She loved meeting the majestic sea creatures and gazing upon the glory of the underwater hidden treasures. Feeling the transition approach once more, She stretched out on the rock and touched her emerald stone that lay on her chest. It was warm once more. She closed her eyes and relaxed into it. When she opened her eyes, her same old legs were back and she was human again. She paused for a moment, shaking herself out, and did a few stretches against the rock. She gathered her belongings and wrapped the warm knit sweater she had left on the rock around her, as the night air was chilly in the middle of the night. The very first hints of morning were emerging, but they were not ready just yet. She gave a slight yawn. It was time for bed. She had a wonderful underwater exploration, but now it was time to get cozy in her bed and rejoin the human world, many who were still sleeping. She felt incredibly special that she had this very specific power to turn into a mermaid by the moonlight. It was something she cherished and appreciated. She knew how unique of a gift it was. Feeling steady now, she hopped off the rock and onto the path that led her out of the cove and towards home. She took a few steps onto the path, then turned and glanced once more at the magnificent moon. She smiled, whispered